Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new Hardcore Nuzlocke. I've been away for a couple of weeks, so I've not been able to record gameplay or play Pokémon at all for a while. This means I've had more time to play other games, including today's sponsor Hero Wars. Hero Wars is a mobile online RPG with a slew of PvP and PvE modes. You can fight against powerful bosses and enjoy a gripping story. If you're a fan of classic fantasy games, then this might be the mobile experience for you. Complete missions, collect loot, and upgrade your champions to make them as powerful as possible. If you like collecting and training in games, then Hero Wars has you covered. This game has more than 50 unique heroes, each with their unique abilities. You can also combine and assemble these different heroes into different teams to battle powerful bosses and more. This isn't just a single player experience though, there's a whole lot more to experience online. You can create guilds, fight against other players, and raise your rank at a constant pace. If you download the game now, you can get a super chest with a secret hero, as well as 62 emeralds and 30,000 gold. Hero Wars is available on iOS and Android devices, as well as on your web browser should mobile gaming not be your cup of tea. Scan the QR code shown here, or download the game using the link in the description. I'll see you in game. Back to today's video. As I said, I was away for a couple of weeks, but thankfully I was able to get the 2 videos out on time, so at least we're not behind schedule. I hope you guys enjoyed the last 2 videos though. If you haven't seen them, then make sure to check them out after this video. I'm back now though, and ready to take on another Hardcore Nuzlocke. This time there won't be any fancy conditions, like shiny only or anything like that. We're just going to be doing a plain and simple Hardcore Nuzlocke. The twist here though is that we'll be playing Blazing Emerald, a ROM hack of Emerald version which is a good deal more difficult than the vanilla Emerald experience. To make things even more difficult, I'll be playing in this game's hard mode, which imposes level caps, doesn't allow you to use items, and forces you to play in set mode. Obviously these are the rules of a Hardcore Nuzlocke anyway, but the level caps in hard mode are less forgiving than a usual Hardcore Nuzlocke. For example, most gym leaders will have a Pokemon that's higher level than the level cap, and the final level cap is 60, when the champion's highest level is 75. This is going to be an insanely difficult final stretch, if we even get there. A very quick rundown of the rules. I can only catch the first Pokemon I find in any given area. If a Pokemon faints, I must box it and it can no longer be used. I'll be nicknaming my Pokemon and enforcing the species clause as well, and as previously stated I'll be playing in hard mode, which means no items in battle, level caps, and I must play in set mode. Quick shout out goes to these people for finding the dabbing Delibird. He's in this one too, so look out for him and comment down below with the timestamp for a chance to be featured next time. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to Not Your Ordinary Gamer, Just Jamie, and CreepyCat911. They all suggested that I name the dabbing Delibird Dee. It kinda reminds me of King Dedede, who's one of my mains in Smash Bros Ultimate, and of course DD stands for Dabbing Delibird, so it makes sense. From now on, this will be the name of our dabbing friend. Alright then, let's see how we shape up in a Hardcore Nuzlocke against this ROM hack. Let's do this. I select the hard mode and name my character Makoto. As always, comment down below if you get the reference. If you saw my last video, you'll know that this ROM hack gives you a huge selection of starter Pokemon to choose from. I want to give myself a good shot at winning this, so I choose one of the pseudo-legendaries, Gible. You don't need me to tell you how good Garchomp is, so it's pretty obvious why I chose this. I name it Gilbert, and after defeating May, we can catch some Pokemon. First of which is a Wurmple. Brilliant start there. I name it Eve, and travel north where I find a Shinx, which I name Lioness, after the Luxray from my Shiny Only Renegade Platinum video. I also catch a Poochyena named Luna, and evolve Eve all the way into a Beautifly. I then catch a couple more Pokemon, first is a Snubbull named Tinkerbell, and second is a Hoennian Venonat I name Mothman. Lioness then evolves into a Luxio, and we finally take on Roxanne. This fight was as straightforward as you like though. Gilbert has Dragon Rage, a move that always deals 40 HP, and all 3 of Roxanne's Pokemon have 40 or less, so we easily outspeed and just one-shot sweep her entire team. Great start to this one. I catch a few more Pokemon before moving on, and first up is a double battle. I get to choose between an Nincada or a Whismur. I decide to go for Nincada, naming it Higurashi, which by the way is my all-time favourite anime. What's yours? Let me know in the comments. She'll definitely be going on the team, but turns out I'm getting both of these Pokemon anyway, as my next encounter is a Whismur. Of course, I name it Baby Metal. I then evolve Luna into a Mightyena and catch myself a Zubat in Granite Cave, giving it the nickname Morty. He's a fellow YouTuber and Hardcore Nuzlocke, and I really enjoy his content, so make sure to subscribe to his channel, links in the description. I also make my way to the newly added beach area, where I'm given the choice of Krabby or Weedle. Tough one this. I obviously pick Krabby, as Kingler's probably my top 10 Pokemon of all time. I also get a couple of fishing encounters. First is a Magikarp I name Water Onyx, shout out to Mah-Dry-Bread, and second is a Hoennian Tentacle which I name Anime 2. Yeah, Electric Boogaloo, get it? Because it's an electric type. Never mind. I then evolve Higurashi into a Ninjask, and this is a 2-for-1, as we actually get a Shedinja as well. I'll keep this in the PC for now, but it could be useful later on. We then take on the second gym leader, Blake. He starts off with a Murkrow who immediately deals massive damage to us with a Pursuit, but thankfully Gilbert has Rock Tomb, which not only does a great chunk of damage, but also lowers his speed. This allows us to outspeed and KO the next turn, and next up is Sneasel, so I need to get out of here. Tinkerbell is a fairy type, so I send it in to take a quick attack and Pursuit, before one-shotting it with a super effective Covert. Houndour is last, and does set up a Howl, but I have faith in Tinkerbell's bulk. One Covert isn't enough, but we do steal his Oranberry, as we barely live a Flame Wheel the next turn, and we're just able to take it out with one more Covert for the win. We came kinda close to losing some members there though. On our way to the third gym, I catch a Wingull named Modest, and evolve Tinkerbell into a Granbull. Isn't she just so pretty? We also evolve Gilbert into a Gabite, and face off against May. She leads off with a Pikachu as I send in Gilbert and go for Dig. She has Tail Glow, which would be absolutely terrifying if I wasn't a ground type. Dig hits for a one-shot, and next up is Clefairy, so I send in Tinkerbell, who takes 50% from a Dazzle Dust, before we one-shot with an Iron Head. Last up is Eevee, who does deal some small damage to us, but ultimately falls to an Iron Head as well, winning us the fight. Before facing the third gym, I evolve Lioness into a Luxray, and catch a couple more team members. First off is a Butterfree I named Bugsy, and second is a Numel named Etna. I was feeling pretty confident with just Gilbert for the third gym, but I think I'll use Etna as well, as it's another ground type, so it's a good safety net. Watson leads with Dunsparce, so I send in Etna. The reason for this is that I know it likes to use Dig, and we have Magnitude, which hits underground opponents. It's complete overkill as well, as we get a Magnitude 10 and it easily goes down. Electrode tries to set up a rollout chain but only hits 2 weak hits, before fainting to a couple of Magnitudes, but next up is Luxio, who lowers our attack with Intimidate, so I decide now's the time to send in Gilbert. We easily tank a Bite and one-shot in return with a Dig, and Watson's final Pokemon is a Magnezone, who's 4 times weak to ground, so really doesn't stand a chance here. We easily one-hit KO with another Dig, and win ourselves Gym Badge number 3. We continue on where Etna evolves into a Camerupt and also gets the ability Solid Rock, not bad. I also catch myself a Doduo which I name Bird with a 3 for an E because, you know, 3 heads. Yes, I know that's not how you spell bird, leave me alone. In Fiery Path I catch a Magmie named Mary, and to the right of Falabur I catch a Growlithe named R9 after R9 beats. I also catch a Seviper which I call Steven. These names are getting very uninspired. We're going to be facing some fire types soon, so I decide to add Snips the Krabby to the team and evolve it into a Kingler. I then catch one more Pokemon before facing Maxie, that being a Sorok named Sunny. Maxie was a complete pushover. Honestly, if you have a water, ground or rock type, you will basically never lose this battle. I didn't even need Snips for this, I just one-shot sweep her entire team with Etna's Earth Power. Before facing Flannery though, I catch a Spoink named Crispy Bacon, honestly my favourite nickname ever. And now we're ready for the fourth gym. This was another easy one though. Snips 1 or 2 shots her entire team with Aqua Jet. We did take a couple of hits in the process, but we were never really in any danger, as we have a pretty decent defense stat. Snips is definitely staying on the team for a little bit longer. We now have access to the desert, where I catch a Gligar, and I then get access to the Mirage Tower as well, where I find and catch a Trapinch. I nickname it HG, after fellow YouTuber and Nuzlocke Flag on HG. You're probably already subscribed, but make sure to check him out if you're not. We then face off against our dad Norman. I have a strategy for this one. I lead with Higurashi, who has Speed Boost and Swords Dance. I did completely forget that Linoon has extreme speed, but we still hang on, and after setting up one Swords Dance, one shot with an X-Scissor. We then sweep through his Exploud, Ursaring and Blissey with a single hit, and now we're down to his final Pokemon Slacking. I don't think I can one-shot this, so I decide to switch in Lioness, who lowers its attack with Intimidate. We take a Night Slash, and then I can paralyze it with a Spark, and go for Thunderclap the next turn for decent damage as he goes for a huge Giga Impact. We actually somehow survive. Intimidate really came in clutch there. I know I need to get out of there though, so I send in Snips and start hitting Crab Hammers. Between his ability healing him and his Citrus Berry, it actually takes quite a while to whittle it down, but he only ever hits us once, and we're eventually able to knock it down, winning us Gym Badge number 5, but we very nearly lost Lioness and all of that. Now we have Surf, we can access some more areas, so that means more Pokemon for us to catch. First up is an Elekid I named Buzz, then a Sentret which I named Walk, and a Gloom named Eternal. We then have to face off against May, but she's never really an issue. Gilbert easily deals with Raichu, and I switch in Tinkerbell to deal with Espeon. We do actually nearly faint, but we're just able to survive 2 hits, and KO with a single bite. Last up is Clefable, and Lioness is able to bring it down to a Sliver with an Overcharge, which is a base 160 power physical electric move that paralyzes the user. Her ability Cute Charm does take effect though, so I switch again, this time into Snips, who can eventually knock it out with a couple of Crab Hammers, winning us the fight. The Flying Gym is next, so just to be safe I add Buzz to the team. He won't be a permanent member just yet, I just need a backup electric type should things with Lioness go south. I evolve it into an Electabuzz and face off against Winona. The fight starts off perfectly with us taking out Pelipper with Lioness's Thunderbolt, and even one-shotting the Aerodactyl with a priority Thunderclap. Dodrio is next though, and it is part ground, meaning electric moves won't work. I send in Snips, who takes a Bone Rush surprisingly well. I was expecting another one, but she actually uses Rubble Rush. Thankfully it misses though, and I'm glad it did, as it's a base 140 power move. One Crabhammer takes it out from full health, and next up is Tropius. I switch in Etna, whose impressive bulk allows us to tank an Energy Ball and Brave Bird, and from there a single Flamethrower is all we need to KO, and Winona's final Pokemon is a Malarkey. Lioness can come in and take a Brave Bird with ease, and from there a single Thunderclap is all we need to secure the win. Turns out we did need Buzz after all. Continuing on, we catch Rick the Ghastly, and finally get ourselves the beast that is Garchomp. This should definitely help us for the rest of this run. I also catch a Shuppet which we name Stitch, and in the Safari Zone a Girafarig. I tried to come up with a clever palindrome here, but all I could come up with was Neckin. I tried, okay? We then easily take down Maxie once again, his team really hasn't changed, so Snips can easily sweep aside his fire types, and then we catch up Weasel and Sneasel before moving on to the 7th gym leaders Tate and Liza. I start with Higurashi and Tinkerbell and take the opportunity to set up a Sword stance, as Hypno gets flinched and brought to red health by a bite. I then finish off the Hypno as Lunatone comes out, and Grumpig goes for Bounce. I know it's super effective, but I'm pretty confident we can live the hit, so I stay in and take out the Lunatone with the Nexus the next turn, and next out is Solrock. Bounce hits us and does more than I anticipated, but we still survive, and don't get paralysed as we land a bite on it for an easy knockout, and out next comes Reuniclus as I X-Scissor the Solrock into oblivion. Their final Pokemon Alakazam comes out, as I flinch the Reuniclus with a bite. Thanks to our incredible speed, we can outspeed the Alakazam to knock it out with a single X-Scissor, and then we can just finish off the Reuniclus with one more bite for the victory. That was a pretty straightforward gym, just one more left to go. I catch a Wailmer, which is basically just being used for 8 gems, and then we face off against Archie. His Mightyena barely lives a Crabhammer from Snips, and hits a weak Frostbite, so we can easily finish it the next turn, and next up is Sharpedo. He actually goes for Fang Barrage, which is a one-hit KO move like Horn Drill, but luckily it misses, and we can hit a Crabhammer for good damage. We take a Crunch before hitting another Crabhammer, leaving it on the tiniest sliver of health. His rough skin really is starting to wear us down though, but I know we can survive one more turn, so I finish it off with an Aqua Jet, leaving us on just 6 HP. This turned out to be a mistake however, as next out is Dewgong. I try to switch out, but he uses Pursuit, meaning we still get hit and we lose our first mon of the run. Rest in peace, Snips. Lioness can easily deal with it thanks to a Thunderbolt though, so now we're just down to his final Pokemon for Alligator. I was expecting to be faster, but we actually get outspared. He hits a super effective Earthquake and I was sure we were doomed, but Lioness lives on just 6 health. We can then hit back with a massively powerful Overcharge, which easily takes it out for the win. We very nearly lost a second member there. Before facing the 8th gym, I actually catch a couple more water types. First off is a Lapras, which I named Nessa. This could be very useful. I also catch a Hoenn and Chinchou underwater, naming it April. I also snag a couple more Pokemon from the newly accessible areas, including a Sableye from Cave of Origin, and an Aerodactyl in the Sky Pillar. Anyone who saw my last video will know just how good this Pokemon can be. I nickname it Tony, the P is silent. I then evolve April into a Lantern and take on the final gym, which once again is an Ice-type gym in this game. Glalie is up first, so I start with Etna, and we can easily take a Frostbite and one-shot in return with a Flamethrower. Walrein is next though, and I don't want to get hit by a water move, so I switch in Lioness. We survive 2 hits, one of them a critical hit, and we can cleanly KO with 2 Thunderclaps from there. I won't be clapping any Mamoswine cheeks though, so I need to switch again. I send in Higurashi expecting an Earthquake, which I predict correctly, but I don't really have any other choice but to attack, and just hope for the best. I go for Leaf Blade, but it falls short, and unfortunately we get KO'd by a single Stone Surge. Yet another great team member down. Tinkerbell can take an Earthquake however, and thankfully KO with an Iron Head. I'm glad that thing is out the way. Frostlass is next, and again I don't really have much of a safe switch, so I try out my new Lantern. We avoid a Blizzard, which actually allows us to take a super effective Shadow Ball the next turn, and KO it from full health with an Abyssal Lure, a Ghost type move new to this game. Crystallix is next, so I just take the opportunity to confuse it, and then switch into Tinkerbell. He actually hits himself in confusion twice in a row, meaning we can switch in for free, and outspeed to take it out in a single 4x super effective Iron Head. All that's left now is his final Pokemon Weavile, and I know Etna can deal with this, but I need a safe switch. Unfortunately, that means sacrificing a team member. To be honest, the smartest choice for this is April. I switch it in and we feint to a single slash, but at least now we can send in Etna safely. We easily tank a Night Slash, and one single Flamethrower is all we need to secure the win, and earn the 8th and final gym badge. We did lose 2 members in that fight though. I put Higurashi and April in the PC with Snips, and replaced them with Nessa and Tony. I feel like these two are my best shot at winning this thing. We can now access Victory Road, where I catch my final Pokemon of the Nuzlocke, which is a Machoke named Rhonda. Before we can take on the Elite Four, we need to fight Wally, but this was actually a very simple fight. Tony actually deals with his first 4 Pokemon single-handedly, as Altaria faints to an Iron Head and Brave Bird combo, Magnezone faints to a single Earthquake, Delcatty falls to a couple of Brave Birds, and Roserade can't take a single Brave Bird either. It's only when Gardevoir comes out that I decide to switch. I send in Gilbert, who can easily tank a Psychic, and KO with just 1 Earthquake. His final Pokemon Gallade comes out, only to get destroyed by a critical hit Earthquake as well, so it goes down and we win. That fight was a lot easier than I expected. We then make our way through Victory Road, and then I train my team up to the final level cap of 60, so let's take a look at the team I'll be bringing into the final stretch of the Nuzlocke. Overall, I'm feeling hopeful. We've got some brilliant team members here, some of which have been with us since the beginning. Gilbert especially should be a great member against the Elite Four. We cover a lot of weaknesses, so we might just be able to do this. We need to remember though that their levels are so much higher than ours. There's only one way to find out if we can do this though, so let's find out. First up is Ghost user Phoebe. She leads with an Emolga, so I send in Lioness, and we have the priority Thunderclap, which is an easy KO, as it is a Ghost and Flying type. Banette is next, so I go for Crunch, which just falls short of a KO as we get burned by a Will-O-Wisp. Not ideal, but we can still finish it off the next turn, but there's no way we can take on Dusknoir, so I switch into Tinkerbell, who takes an Ice Punch with ease, before landing a super effective Bite. Not only is it enough for a 2-shot, but we also get the flinch, allowing us to take it out without taking any more damage. Gengar's next and hits an Ice Beam, but we tank the hit, and one-shot with a single Bite as well. Kofagrigus is next, so I go to switch out, but it has Shadow Tag. This means I can't switch out, so I need to stay in and attack. We do actually get another flinch, so I thought I dodged a bullet, but then she eats a Citrus Berry, which means our second bite isn't enough, and we don't get another flinch, so she lands a Shadow Ball, which takes us out. That was another really unfortunate loss. Tinkerbell's been amazing this run. I switch in Gilbert and Revengeka with the Dragon Claw, and last up is a Lantern, so a single Earthquake seals its fate, and we win the first match of the Elite Four. Not without a casualty though. The Grass type Serena is next, and this was a refreshingly easy battle. Her first Pokemon is a Drought Sunflora, but Tony can easily KO with a single Brave Bird, and next up is Ferrothorn. Etna is the perfect counter to this, so I send it in on an Iron Head and outspeed and obliterate it the next turn with a Stab 4x super effective Sun boosted Flamethrower. Yep, that'll do it. Next out is another bulky Pokemon, Hoennian Shuckle. I was worried that we'd get stalled out, but we just get a critical hit Flamethrower for a one-shot. I'll take it. Meganium is next and tries to put us to sleep, but she misses the Grass Whistle and again falls to a single Flamethrower. Vileplume comes out next as the sun fades, and she does unfortunately poison us with a Sludge Bomb, as our Flamethrower leaves it on the tiniest amount of health. I decide it's probably safer to switch out, so I send Tony back in as she starts charging a Solar Beam. Thankfully this means we can KO before we get hit, and her final Pokemon Reuniclus can't take a Brave Bird, so it goes down and we win the second match of the Elite Four. Serena must be related to Bruno or something. Next up is the Fairy user Bead. Wigglytuff is first and we get the best possible start, as Tony's Iron Head makes it flinch, so one more knocks it out without us even taking any damage. Azumarill is next though, so I need to switch. Lioness comes out as he opts for Belly Drum, maximising his attack. This would be scary, but we have a super effective priority move, so we were never really in danger. Sylveon is next and deals a ton of damage with Fake Out and Hyper Voice before we land an Overcharge, leaving on red health. We're paralysed though, so I switch into Tony, take a Hyper Voice and finish it off with an Iron Head. Bisharp is up next, so I send in Etna as he goes for an Iron Head for small damage, and then he goes for Knight's Vow, raising his defences as I hit a super effective Flamethrower to bring it down to KO range. He does land a Night Slash before going down, but it hardly does anything, and next up is the terrifying Goolossal. I switch in Nessa on a Hydro Pump, which does minimal damage, and start hitting Ice Beams. They're not doing much damage, but we actually do end up getting a freeze, which allows me to freely switch into Tony and finish it off with a couple of hits before he can defrost. Bead's final Pokemon is a Togekiss, but we're easily faster, and we have the super effective Rubber Rush, which makes short work of it. We win the fight, and now there's just one more member of the Elite Four left to face, but it's a tough one. Drake leads with Dragonite, so I start with Nessa. We outspeed it, hitting a 4x super effective Ice Beam, but his Multiscale saves him from fainting as he sets up a Dragon Dance. He then goes for Fly, but we also have Multiscale, so we can take the boosted hit with health to spare, and finish it off with a Freeze Dry. Flygon is next and hits a Stone Surge, but Nessa is bulky enough to take the hit, and a single Ice Beam is all it takes to KO. Drasparath is next though, so I send in Etna on a Thunder, which we're immune to. He then goes for Cloud Burst, which is essentially a flying type overheat. We easily survive and KO with a single Earth Power, and next up is Garchomp. I switch in Tony on an Earthquake, and go for Brave Bird to get as much damage in as I can, and it ends up doing about half. We even survived the Dragon Claw, so I thought we'd just pull through and finish it off, but he ends up living a second Brave Bird with a sliver of health, and knocks us out. That's another of our best team members down. My only priority move is Electric type, so I can't use that, so I have no real option but to send in my own Garchomp, who's 8 levels lower, and hope to outspeed. Amazingly, we actually do, and we can take it out with a Dragon Claw from there. We're not out of the woods just yet though, as next up is Salamence, who lowers our attack, and I need to make a sacrifice if I want to send Gilbert back in. I figured considering the champion is a water type, Etna is probably the smartest choice here, so we feint to an Outrage, and now I need to hope that a Dragon Claw is enough. I send Gilbert back in, go for it, and to much relief, it is just enough to KO from full health, and now we just need to face his final Pokemon, Dragapult. It's a Dragon and Fire type with Levitate, so I try for Dragon Claw once again, but we actually get outsped, and there is no way we're surviving a Dragon Pulse. I was sure we'd outspeed it, so this came as a real shock. All of a sudden, things aren't looking so good for me. I have one last idea, but I don't know if it'll work. I send in Lioness and go for Thunderbolt, hoping for the paralysis. We just about tank another Dragon Pulse, and we actually do get the paralysis. There's still hope. I then just go for my strongest move, which is Overcharge, which brings it down to about half before we get taken out by another Dragon Pulse. We have one Pokemon left, but Nessa isn't in good shape. I go for Surf, which predictably isn't enough, but then he actually gets fully paralysed. This means we could hit one more Surf, which finally brings it down, and now we've beaten the Elite Four, with just one Pokemon left standing. It's just a shame that we still have a champion fight to do. We limp our way to Wallace, where one Lapras needs to take out an entire team of water types. I'm gonna need a miracle. Whiscash is first, and we actually have a good matchup here as we have Freeze Dry, which is an ice type move that's super effective against water, making it 4 times super effective against Whiscash. He does survive and get a Future Sight off, but we take it out in 2 hits. And next up is Ho-Winnie Tentacruel. This is bad. He outspeeds us and hits an overcharge for massive damage, but our ability does allow us to survive, and we bring it down to about 50% with a Freeze Dry. He's paralysed now and actually gets fully paralysed as well, which means we can actually take it out with another one. Surely there's no way. My fears were quickly realised when out next comes his very own Lapras, and right here, I just knew it was over. I go for Thunderbolt, but it does pitiful damage, and he takes us out with a Thunderbolt of his own to end the Nuzlocke. We almost made it to the end, falling only to the champion. I place our fallen team members in the PC, and accept my defeat. Despite the disappointing end, I am actually really happy with how this turned out. The early game was actually relatively easy. We didn't lose a single Pokemon until the Archie fight, which is just after the 7th gym. After that though, things just started going wrong, but even so, only 3 deaths before the Elite Four isn't too bad by my standards. It's nice to do a more simple Hardcore Nuzlocke, as it allowed me to try out a lot of Pokemon I otherwise wouldn't have even given a thought to. It's also a new way to experience this fantastic ROM hack. If you have any suggestions for Hardcore Nuzlockes on this game, then let me know in the comments down below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, then please consider giving it a like, and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Once again, thank you to Hero Wars for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the description to receive your free secret hero, Emeralds and Gold. I'll be back next time with a challenge video, but until then, that's all I've got for you today. So as always, thank you all so much for watching. Until next time.